Beautiful. Look how pretty.
I'd love to talk to you for about the next 6 hours about monarch biology, but I'm not going to do that. I do want to talk a little bit, though, about conservation, because as most of us are aware, monarch populations over the last 20-25 years throughout North America have been in a pretty dramatic decline. And a lot of biologists have been trying to figure out why. How do we know it's in decline? You can say, oh, I don't see as many as I used to, but data is way important. And it's on the wintering grounds in Mexico where all of the monarchs east of the Rocky Mountains are going to end up in the winter, where we get a sense of how big the population is. And again, there, we can't count every monarch. We saw those photos. These areas in Mexico, the trees are literally covered, trunks, branches, leaves, with monarch butterflies for a period of 4 or 5 months in the winter. So what the biologists there do is they actually measure how many acres of forest are covered with monarch butterflies. And that's the number that's shown the 80 to 90% decline in the last 20 to 25 years. Here in Cape May, we've been doing this census that Stephanie described for over 25 years. And while the population of monarchs goes up and down from year to year based on all sorts of conditions, and this is a good year, but that doesn't mean the problem's solved. It just means it's a good year. The long-term trend in Cape May has shown a relatively stable population. Now, how come it's okay here and not in Mexico? We think the big problem has to do with the rest of the United States, specifically the Midwest. 200 years ago, those were prairies. They were loaded with milkweed as part of the prairie plant. Milkweed, as we learned, is essential for monarchs because it's the only food caterpillars eat. Then we turned a lot of the prairies into farms. And think about the way the farms were managed 50 years ago, 100 years ago. The farmer would plow the field. If there was a ditch in the field, he didn't take his little tractor through that, and the weeds would grow there, including milkweed. It was kind of tough to plow next to the road. The weeds would grow there. And then once the plant got cropped, he'd drive his tractor through and cultivate between the rows to turn it over so the weeds wouldn't grow. And once the corn was waist high, he didn't take the tractor through anymore. If weeds grew up in between, it wasn't a problem, and a lot of those weeds were milkweed. In the last 20 years, farming practices have changed. Now the farmers are able to spray weed killer on these gigantic corporate farms. They've got gigantic tractors that go right through all the ditches in the low areas, and the amount of milkweed that grows in the ancestral Great Plains is dramatically diminished. And that is what most conservation biologists believe is the biggest problem with the declining monarch population. And the fact that they're not declining in the east here suggests that in addition to not being where the big corporate farms are, we're in an area where butterfly gardening is very popular. Does anyone out there grow plants specifically for the butterflies? All right. Anybody whose hand isn't up, do you have any flowers growing at your house? If you have flowers, you're helping the butterflies. A butterfly garden is not a tough thing to do. For monarchs, you need the milkweed for the caterpillars, and then just a nectar source for the adults. So in order to help the monarchs throughout North America, but especially in the Midwest, they got to start doing what we're doing, and that's have more butterfly gardens. And indeed, in the last few years, parks and nature centers and schools and churches and a lot of places in the Midwest have started putting in monarch-friendly butterfly gardens. And local governments, state governments, even the federal government had developed programs to help plant more milkweed out there in the Midwest. It seems to be a pretty good year for monarchs. We don't know if this 1 year means we turn the corner or not, but we are hopeful and we're sure going to keep our efforts going. So if you guys want to help monarch butterflies, there are a couple things you can do. One is either plant a garden or encourage a garden to get planted. Our West Cape May Elementary School, the nearest school here, you should see their milkweed patch. Right outside, I think it's the 6th grade class window, and they all love watching the monarchs. And raised in that way where they spray the fields with weed killer. And organic fields are likely to still have some milkweed. You can go to Mexico and visit the monarch reserves. There was a problem a few years ago with a lot of illegal logging where the monarchs are spending their time in those forests in the mountains of Mexico during our winter. But with more and more tourists going to see the monarchs down there, the villagers who live nearby realize hey, this is a great resource for us to keep this forest and keep these monarchs alive. And the more of us that go to see that, the more that reinforces it. And they love the monarchs down there. It's not like they want to harm the monarchs, but they do need to make a living. If living trees full of monarchs make more money for them than cutting the trees down, well, then it's a no-brainer. Finally, you can support conservation organizations. A lot of international conservation groups like the World Wildlife Fund, the Nature Conservancy are active down in Mexico. But you can also help little, small grassroots programs like us. If you want to support what we're doing, and you didn't pick up one of our brochures before, I encourage you to pick one of these up. It has our really cool Adopt a Monarch. One of the monarchs you see tagged today, if you'd like to adopt it, you'll get this really cool certificate in the mail. And if we find that monarch again in the migration, you'll get a letter describing it. If it's found down in Mexico, well, our founder, Dick Walton, promises a really special gift for you. It was going to be a bottle of champagne, but he said he finally drank it after 25 years. But maybe we can get another one.
You can adopt me. Send it to Mexico, a little more money.
Yeah, Dick ran the program. He was a lazy guy, only did it for 25 years. We also have a few thank yous just for any donation. My thumb 8 or 10 times, and I've created a little area. Let me make it a little bigger for everyone to see. Where the clear membrane underneath is visible, and I'm going to stick the tag there. And again, there are no living cells in the wing. There's no nerves. It didn't feel that. They might think this whole process is a little strange, but it doesn't. They don't seem too upset by it. Then I peel off one of the stickers. I try and do it real carefully, so I touch as little of the adhesive as possible. I lay it real carefully over the spot where I remove the scales. I make sure I haven't put a wrinkle in the wing or anything before I give it a good hard squeeze. And that tag is now on this butterfly forever. How many monarchs that we put a tag on last year do you think we've seen so far this fall? None, right? They're at least 4 generations removed. That's a nasty trick question I pull out, isn't it? Yeah. And you saw the pictures when we brought them around of the roosts in Mexico. Most of them are way high in the trees. Most of the monarchs that make it to Mexico, even if they have tags, will never see those tags. The biologists working down there will never see them. So each one that is found in Mexico probably represents a lot more. And we're up to 70 now, tagged by this project, that have been found in Mexico. So we really believe that we have shown that the monarchs moving down the Atlantic coast are headed to Mexico. Now, of course, I'm not done my work until I write down my data. Now, what do you suppose are important data points? The date, the time, location, right? All of that. We do 10-minute intervals. So we are on 9/30/17. It's about 2:30. And I just write demo. That's a shorthand for being here at Gateway Point State Park in one of our programs. The tag number, this one is XGW025.
It is a daily census. Now that doesn't mean we're going out searching every single tree and finding every single monarch here in Cape May Point. We're not counting every single one, so it doesn't give us the total number. What we do is we do a 5-mile census route in our car. We drive at about 20 miles an hour. So if you are somewhere on Sunset Boulevard or Lighthouse and there's a car in front of you with its hazards on going really, really slow, that'd be us. Please feel free to pass us. Wave all 5 fingers. We drive from Higbee Beach all the way over down Sunset Lighthouse past here and around the dune, counting with very high-tech tools. We use a clicker. Every single monarch that we see. And that's going to tell us a comparison. So we can't know how many are in the point, but we're going to know that there was more yesterday than there are a week ago, than there were a year ago on this date, than there were 5 years ago on this date. Whatever the difference is, it allows us to compare along that same route that there's different numbers of butterflies. So for bye guys!
Look at all the butterflies.
And I've seen hundreds of goldenrod plants.
We may have some other items provided by special courier.
And just amazing. Well, you've got to have a lot of them.
He said it.
It's a hybrid. It's a Canadian.
Look at that lens over there.
Beautiful. Look how pretty.
Special. Got it, Don?
Yeah, oh, it's a good one. It'll be on my Facebook.
Yeah. Well, why don't you touch it with that camera? Doesn't it have a zoom lens?
Look at all these butterflies. It's like a wonderland. They're everywhere.
Look at these, Paul.
Beautiful. Oh, this one tree must have 100 of them on there. Oh my God. Look at all the butterflies.
For the night here. And then as it warms up in the morning, they'll start taking off. If you're here at the right time, you see when they wake up, all of a sudden, it's almost like there's neon lights on the branch. They'll all start flipping their wings. It's bright orange, and then they